Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And with our continuation of the InsurTech Summit, we've got another interesting session by Mr. Zain Ibrahim, who's the Director and Chief Operating Officer at EFU Life Assurance Limited. He's going to be talking about insurers and InsurTech. Do opposites really attract? Well, let's see.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing fine, enjoying the summit, and keeping safe. It is my pleasure to be talking about a topic that is really hot these days, mainly because it is most relevant in the current times. The topic is about insurers and insurtechs and where these two fairly diverged entities stand. We would also explore whether they can appreciate each other's existence and perhaps become bedfellows. In many cases, their marriage could be the best thing for the end consumer. So let's begin. Now, before we talk about any marriages or even engagements, let's reflect on the kind of relationship we've seen between insurers and insurtechs. In a lot of sense, it is like a David versus Goliath issue. We all know that the sheer size of many established insurance companies inadvertently creates challenges and dangers for startups, at least the perception of dangers and challenges. It is like a mouse trying to dance with a big cat, or perhaps a cat playing with the mouse. Either ways, we've seen that sometimes a nimble mouse, outruns the cat, and in some cases, when the cat shuffles on its feet, even the nimblest of mouse gets crushed underneath. So basically, the relationship has mostly been thorny. So say at least. Um, but the thing is it now the time for this to change? Can they both understand, appreciate, and manage each other's strengths and weaknesses? Is it really possible? We'll explore in our presentation. InsurTech, we frequently hear this term. I mean, this term was probably first coined in the 2010, and then since 2015, it's been widely adopted. Now, many people confuse InsurTech as insurance startup. Actually, InsurTech includes startups, incubators, accelerators, ventures, and even incumbent insurers. Yes, even incumbent insurers. So let's look at some of the definitions out there in the market. So at least we get a sense of exactly what insurtechs really are. These are definitions from IBM's study and even Society of Actuaries. One defines insurtech as the use of emerging hardware, software, and user interfaces to address inefficiencies or opportunities in the insurance value chain. The other is a fairly broader definition, but in essence, insurtech is the emergence of new technologies transforming the insurance industry, reducing costs, improving efficiency, and enhancing the customer satisfaction, most important. A lot of times, InsurTech also refers to technological innovations that are created and implemented to improve the efficiency of the insurance industry and the value chain. But basically, if we get through to the bottom of all these, long definitions, InsurTech is all about in technology and data. It is about focusing on three elements. The first is the interaction between the insurers and their customers, and we've seen historically there are lots of gaps for in that particular area. The second is the automation of processes. The internal insurance industry, of course, uses elaborate systems, and a lot of times over time, the systems and then the processes are such that they need fair amount of re-engineering, and that's where InsurTech plays a good role. And of course, the modification of old or creation of new insurance products. We've seen over the last few years, at least, some new interesting insurance products coming up, mainly distributed through the new InsurTech companies. Now, we've defined InsurTech, but let's look at how they're categorized, generally speaking. So they generally fall into three main categories. The first is the InsurTech marketplace. I mean, we have seen companies like InsurFi, the Zebra, Gabby, and then these companies provide a way for consumers to better identify their insurance options, mainly through the digital channels. Then we have the new insurance companies. Now, these are companies like, again, Root and Metromile are examples, which use technology to underwrite and sell insurance and in an updated manner. So they use technology essentially to do basically what the incumbent insurance do, but they offer fully digitalized insurance products to consumers and businesses, and exclusively through the digital channels. And they, of course, they offer end-to-end service delivery. The third categorization are the companies like Agent Tech. We call them InsurTech enablers. These are companies which nearly into the third category, that help companies, other companies in the insurance business, digitize their operations or otherwise modernize. So they are essentially enablers. Once we've defined and categorized, we also need to see what they're up to. We talk about InsurTechs coming and blowing up the market and then making so many changes. But one thing that we are sure of, and something that everybody is noticing now, is that InsurTechs are growing exponentially. I mean, through the global InsurTech market, although the global InsurTech market is fragmented, because there are lots of small players, but they, in the totality, the industry is growing at a hefty pace. I mean, in the last 1 or 2 years, we can see the exponential growth. We can also see the number of new players coming in. If we're, close to 377 deals just last year alone, worth over $7 billion USD. And remember, 2020 was a pandemic year. So even with pandemic, we've seen that, the new companies are coming up. There are lots of investments that are being made into these new companies. So they are growing. And they are expected to grow significantly going forward as well, as they simplify the whole insurance value chain process. Secondly, InsurTechs are focusing attention on improving the value chain, specifically into areas like customer acquisition, the quote, bind, and issue process. Almost 45% of the new InsurTechs are focusing on that particular area alone. And you have close to 1/3 focusing on fulfilling the client's needs. And then you have almost 20% focusing on pricing and underwriting. So we can see that they are growing. They're growing fast, and they are also focusing on the gaps, at least what they perceive as the gaps of the incumbent insurance industry, and trying to make a sort of an improvement into those processes. So, okay, fine. We've seen what InsurTechs are doing and where they stand and so on. Let's have a quick overview of where the insurance industry is standing. We know from all the data that we've gathered that the insurance market continues to grow at a reasonable pace globally. The global premiums have been continuously rising at a healthy rate as well. And even during the pandemic, we see most of the markets throughout the world have reported a growth. Now, we also have to keep in mind that though insurance companies are typically not viewed as technological technological pioneers, they're still growing and offering a good value to the customers. And they are still, a lot of them are focusing on improving their processes, services, and trying to adapt to technology as much as they can. Now, if we look at the insurance landscape around the world, we can immediately see that there are four major areas where the insurance landscape is evolving, and it's evolving very fast. The first is of course economic and demographic changes. I mean, many new markets, we see young, digitally savvy population taking over. You have the Asian market specifically, where the youngest population, which is born in the digital age, is changing the population dynamics of those markets. And with their rise, we can also see that the needs and expectations that they have from insurance companies or the industry are far different. It's far different. They're more digitally savvy, so they expect more digitally savvy sort of insurance products and services. Of course, we've seen with the amazing technological advancement, a lot of companies, both incumbents and new ones, adopting digital tools. Because of legacy issues, some of them are actually adopting those in sort of a patchwork manner. But overall, everybody understands that digital tools are for the future, and there is no escaping that. So, and if we look at the picture, we can see that the first wave of digitalization has made the insurance value chain more efficient. And in the future, critical processes will be connected, and insurers will progress from being mere digital insurance providers to digital insurers. And then as database quality and algorithms improve, the next generation will be AI insurers with value chains that learn from the data generated by their ecosystems. So essentially, insurance will evolve from unconnected and separate processes to one product is equal to one service paradigm. Now, interestingly, while we are all worried about the privacy concerns in the world of evolving customer expectation, millennials and Gen Zs included, some new trends are mind-blowing. And this Oliver Wyman survey early this year shows that almost 74% of the consumers are okay with sharing their personal data, as long as it is used to give them the right offers and recommendations. And then, in fact, more than 73% want personalized recommendations. Almost 70% are even willing to share data to receive offers. And this shows that while privacy remains a concern, the digitally savvy youngster population's expectations are that the provider would use their data to offer better services and better products, and they're happy to share their information. Now, let's look at quick sort of an overview on some of the technological tools that are impacting the insurance industry. We are all aware of the digital and virtual customer engagement because of availability of internet and better tools, a better customer experience is expected. Increased sales are happening, and technological tools like chatbots and image and video recognition softwares are increasingly used. And of course, data analytics is another important area. Personalization is happening. Because of data analytics, you are able to sort of go to a granular level and offer better personalized sort of products and services to customer segments, and that helps in upselling and cross-selling, and also increases operational efficiency. AI and ML is another area. Open AIs are happening, APIs are happening, where partnerships are being formed using their API offerings. Enterprise and cyber and cloud are the end things. I mean, RPS is one example where lots of companies are implementing RPS to improve operational efficiency and improve turnaround times and so on. IoT is the next big thing, and of course, blockchain, where increasing data sharing is happening, with collaboration happening, is both on the private ledger side as well as distributed public ledger side. Now we've seen that insurers and insurtechs are perceived to be opposites. Let's look at some of the reasons why that perception is there. For insurers, we know they are established players, and some of them, a lot of them are more than 100 years old. They carry healthy balance sheets, of course. They're generally conservative, and for good reason as well. In the past, without technology, they had to be conservative. They have a specific business understanding and how to, acquire customers, how to service them. They have their own legacy issues, and in some cases, size issues. And of course, with all of that, and with all of the history, there is established way of their thinking. InsurTechs, on the other hand, are new players. Some of them are less than 1 or 2 years old. They've had big investment inflows, and they have a disruptive mindset. They focus on tech innovation. They are agile, and their understanding of how the business works is slightly different from the established insurers. So with that, what needs to be seen is there a middle ground? Is there a common middle ground for them to cooperate? Let's explore that. Now, we've seen the reasons, some of the reasons. Let's dive a little deeper. I would say the 4 major reasons, differences between them. One is, of course, the cultural, issues, cultural difference, the willingness to change in one versus the other, the pace of change, understanding of changing customer behavior, understanding technology is all very, very different. Then you have technology and data issues. Of course, one has a different understanding of technology. One has a systems legacy issue. There's a very big issue in many companies. Data security concerns are there. Alignment of IT and business strategies are different in both entities. Data and analytics capabilities are different in both entities. Similarly, budgetary constraints. So, the issues of budgets are different for different companies. In order to upgrade or enhance their current systems, a lot of the legacy carriers have big constraints. And then talent issues. This is more on the human side, but attracting and recruiting and then retaining quality talent is an issue. Specifically, the young upcoming talent is an issue. So we've seen, and this a phrase everybody must have already heard, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So I'll just quickly, highlight how important this aspect is for any two sort of entities to enter into a transformative or long-term partnership. If we look at the cultural issues highlighted, this is a study conducted by Zain recently. It shows that areas like tolerance for failure is low in insurers and is high in InsurTechs, of course. Speed of decision making is glacial in insurers, while it's lightning in InsurTech. Average length of employee tenure is, of course, much less in InsurTechs. Technology, a lot of carriers, incumbent carriers have an issue with the legacy system, where InsurTechs are going for the latest technologies. Decision making is more collaborative in insurers versus InsurTechs. Tendency under stress. Most insurers are passive aggressive, where InsurTechs by their very nature are overtly aggressive, and then so on. So there's lots of differences, key cultural differences between the two entities, and that, I think, is one of the most important factor in trying to come up with a viable partnership. Now, we've seen that there are differences, but Does that mean that they can't cooperate, or they cannot, or they should not? Well, it is natural for them to be, because they are opposites, it is natural for them to be attracted to each other. Yeah, and apparently, yes, they can cooperate. I mean, there's a study done by IBM which shows that more than 75%, Capgemini, it shows that more than 75% of insurers now say that they're exploring insurtechs and then trying to come up with viable partnership to develop new solutions. We have more than 77% agree on increased ability to improve customer service. 59% they acknowledge that the faster time to market with insurtechs versus what they can manage themselves, and then 46% appreciate building new digital capabilities. And this study conducted by IBM clearly shows that as time is progressing and the realization about the market is becoming apparent for both the entities, they are moving more and more towards sort of a cooperating stance. And then right now, 28% feel that the cooperation is the key, and less are thinking of the other as a threat. Now, since more and more insurers are looking at InsurTech not as a threat, but as an opportunity, it's clear that both have something to offer each other. From an insurer side, I mean, such a partnership offers new offerings and improved offerings and operational efficiency, advanced data management, and a lot of times it offers them the opportunity to complement the investments that they already are thinking of making. On the other hand, insurtechs get access to data, something that they don't have. And in some cases, the data is huge, and that data makes a lot of difference. They get understanding of the regulatory regime much better.
Thank you for sharing those valuable insights with us, sir. We appreciate you taking out time. And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We have another session coming up.